Yeah, so like I was saying, the Spanish Empire began officially ruling in 1509. That's the early 16th century, very early. So after 146 years of Spanish rule, a large group of British sailors and soldiers landed in the Kingston Harbor in 1655. At that time, big war with them, England and Spain, to capture Jamaica. And what these people do, that may enslave many of the native people, obviously the Arawaks and the Caribs and all who were living there, and arming them to the point that many perish, died within 50 years of European arrival. How many people died? Imagine that. So the English who set their sight on Jamaica now, like I said, they were trying to get all of the island of Hispaniola. They marched through Villa de la Vega, which was Spanish town original name. And obviously, many of you know that Spanish town was the capital of Jamaica from 1534 until 1872. And the British Empire comprised of all these colonies and territory ruled by the United Kingdom. You understand? And guess how Britain succeed and prosper now? The British Empire originated with the overseas possession of slavery and trading and all kind of you know what by England and the late 16th and early 18th century. This is what they used to do. Trade people, use them to build their empire. So when you hear about the British Empire, that's where it stemmed from. So during the peak now, it was the largest empire in history. And for over a century, that is over 100 years, was the foremost global power. So the British Empire became the global power as a result of them make a earning off the backs of black people, Hispanic people, Arawak Indian people, and all that sort of thing. So after a series of wars, listen how the wheel I got turn now. After a series of war in the 17th and 18th century with the Netherlands and France, England became the dominant power in North America. So them left from the Caribbean now, then gone overseas. So when you're wicked, God set a wicked man over you. So the independence of those 13 colonies in North America in 1783, after the big American War of Independence, resulted in Britain losing some of its oldest and most popular colonies. So Britain turned their attention to Asia, Africa, and the Pacific. So them always look somewhere for teeth. After the defeat of France in the Napoleon War, which obviously 1803 to 1815, Britain emerged as the principal naval imperial power of the 19th century. Them can't emerge by themselves, them have to emerge by thieving territory, going around the world and capturing and fighting for take away. So it's a power struggle really. So by the start of the 20th century, Germany and the USA had begun to challenge Britain's economic lead. So the afterward now the military and economic tension between Britain and Germany were major causes of the First World War. Can you imagine that? The problem where England caused with Germany and other military and economic countries caused big war. Thousands of lives lost. What a shame. Anyway, you hear about Jamaica independence. It never come about independence for no reason at all. So I'm going to tell you now about the national heroes. Where is the paper? Yes, I made a note. Many of you will hear about Norman Manley. He was a Jamaican statesman from 1893 till 1969. He was also the father of the Michael Manley, who became one of Jamaica's fourth prime minister. You understand? Anyway, this man, Norman Manley's dad, became an advocate. In other words, he was campaigning for universal suffrage to give the right to adult citizens to vote. He was against inequality and he wanted people to get a fair share of income regardless of your gender or your social status. So the vote was extended to women in a later election, but that's a topic for another time. So in the elections of 1962, now the JLP defeated the PNP because Alexander Bustamante, he became prime minister that year. And the Parliament of the UK passed the Jamaica Independence Act, granting independence with the Queen at the head of state. So how that work? We're not really independent if the Queen is the head of state. As we stand today, the most Honorable Andrew Holness has been in the Jamaica Prime Ministerial Office since the 3rd of March 2016 at Her Majesty's pleasure, and he will be there for 5 years. Imagine that. So Jamaica continued to be a Commonwealth realm with the British monarch, with the Queen remaining as the Queen of Jamaica and the head of state. Beggars believe. All because the most honorable this man here, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, him joined the Commonwealth League of Nations. This is an organization of ex-British territory, Oh, these people. So, when you hear about Jamaica National Era, none of them were crowned national eras during their lifetime. It's after their death. Because the only female national era was Nanny of the Maroon. And she was born in Ghana in Africa. She born in the 1600 and died in 1740. This woman was known as both the Maroon and the British military leader. She became a symbol of unity and strength in times of crisis. When the British people used to oppress the Jamaicans, she used to campaign, and her cleverness to plan guerrilla warfare led her to be a national hero in later years. Then Sam Sharp, him born in St. James. Them hang him on the 23rd of May 1832 because he wanted to put up resistance to stop the slave them from working on Christmas Day after a rebellion, and them burned down how many public buildings. And it's just the way it was. Paul Bogle, he was born free in 1822. A Baptist deacon in Stony Gut. He was a firm political supporter of George William Gordon, sorry. He was against poverty and injustice in the society and lacked public confidence in the central authority. This man now was involved in a violent confrontation with full forces that followed the march. Nearly 500 people were killed and a great number was flogged and punished before an order was restored. Now Paul Bogle was captured and hanged. In October 1865. So when you hear about national hero, there's nothing about hero where these people are concerned. Nothing about hero. So I would urge you to think more about Bob Marley said, if you don't know where you're coming from, you will never know where you're going. You understand? So like I said, keep watching this space because there's much more than meet the eye. And subscribe because you can learn something from what I'm saying because my research is very extensive. Alright? Happy Independence Day. Bless.